This goes to Rich, Deb, John, Bill, Jane, Deborah, Scott, Mark, Walter, and so many others that have asked me, Daryl, this is such an important subject. You just uncovered the largest industrial scam. Why doesn't major news media pick it up? Well, let me just tell you some background on that one. On April 17, 2024, I stood up at the DHS Subcommittee, Department of Homeland Security, and I stood up when others wouldn't. I went there, it was open door. You're not supposed to get up and talk at any of these meetings because it's a charade. It's a play. They give you an hour. They give 10 minutes to each speaker. If they have four, it's 40 minutes. And then the panel of senators and congressmen will ask questions. It's all a set-up deal, all with scripts, without a doubt. I've been to 3 of those so far. This one I stood up, without being invited, I stood up and opened up my mouth, showing 2 pieces of paper that Boeing gave up on-site auditing for 22 years. The one we're going to focus on is not for special process, the April 2002 one, NADCAP certification for heat treat, welding, and non-destructive testing. But we are going to be focusing on the July 2002 that mandated that those suppliers to Boeing must be ANSI-ANAB accredited. Well, I'll say ANAB accredited. They also said in their supplier portal, where a company will go to find out what is required to be a supplier, that third-party registrars must be ANAB accredited or international equivalent. And those equivalents, ladies and gentlemen, are Iran, Pakistan, and China. Iran, who admitted to harboring some of the terrorists of 9/11, Pakistan, who harbored Osama bin Laden, and China, who steals more material, but they don't steal it. We give it to them. The DOD sits on ANSI-ANAB's board. We continue on. Boeing perpetrated a fraud colluded with the American National Accreditation Board. They have on their website, and I've got 10 years of it, from 2014 to 24, I took snapshots of their web pages. We have it all, personnel and everything. And Boeing was the main contender. There's many, but Boeing, where you can grant, suspend, and withdraw certification, that was their strength. And they were not certified for AS9100 for over 22 years. So they built both military and also actually commercial and military planes in an uncertified environment for 22 years. And for those of you who supplied material, who were arm-twisted to get an ANSI-ANAB accredited certification, doesn't matter what registrar you are, they perpetrated a fraud, giving you the illusion by sitting on the Management System Accreditation Committee for at minimum 10 years, a decade. While for 2 decades, they were AS9100. No, they didn't have it. So people ask me all the time, Daryl, why aren't the major news media picking it up? When I stood up that day, April 17, 2024, with those 2 documents, I spoke to Bloomberg and Politico. And they said, Daryl, we can't allow this out. We can't allow this out. People will not fly on planes. And I'm a shareholder, and they shouldn't. There's over 12,000 planes that are flying around that were built from 2002 to present, okay, that major airlines have purchased, and they're buzzing around over our heads. And they may not have been inspected properly. They weren't. You give a good part into a system that's not accredited, your part is junk. And you better listen to that one. So I just want to read you this little caption here as to why I use PRLog publications. Because they are the only legitimate organization, news organization, that will publish the truth. The rest of them, well, let's go through it. Why I, Daryl Guberman, use PRLog. My choice is to publish through PRLog. It is deliberate and strategic. Major outlets such as Bloomberg, Politico, CNN, MSNBC, CBS News, Fox News, and 60 Minutes have refused to cover my findings. When confronted with documentation proving Boeing failed to inspect suppliers for 22 years, from July 2002, and also they refused to be AS9100 for 22 years, building both commercial and military aircraft in an uncertified environment, These news media outlets will say to me a chilling reply. We can't allow the general public to understand this. This blackout underscores the collusion between Boeing, the American National Standards Institute, the American National Crediting Board, the International Accreditation Forum, and the International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation, and federal agencies, all benefiting from silence while the global certification system collapsed. My number is 203-556-1493, and as I always say, do not fly on a Boeing. I mean that. Do not fly on a Boeing. 203-556-1493. And I hope this explains it to the ladies and gentlemen that I introduced in the beginning of this video. I do it for you because you know something? When you have major news media that's silent, more than likely because they're in bed with Boeing, when you have major federal agencies that are supposed to protect us that are in bed with ANSI-ANAB, we have a collapse of everything that we thought was to protect us. 203-556-1493.